At first, Rory was as American as a Happy Meal, which you can find at your McDonald's drive-thru, and if you're good, you'll get one too, but only if you don't piss your parents off because they're still preoccupied with 1985. VHS 85 is a Shudder original and is the latest entry in the found footage anthology franchise named, wait for it, sit down, grab a snack, you're not going to believe this, VHS, that's V/H/S. Based around, yes, the now totally defunct VHS tapes. No Blu-rays, no DVDs, no 4K, none of this stuff. Not even the HD DVDs that certainly had a shelf life of all of 5 fucking minutes. But no, back in the goddamn day, there was VHS, there was Beta. Beta was really popular in Japan because it had better video quality, but VHS was what won the American tape war, so to speak, in the US because the porn industry actually went with VHS. No, really, that's something that actually happened. You can study up on this. But VHS, yes, found footage, and it gives a chance for filmmakers to make short horror films that vary in quality. So a little bit of history as far as the VHS movies. The first one came out just over 10 years ago, actually, and was pretty goddamn good. There were a couple tapes that were, but overall, it was probably the best entry in the franchise. And then you had the second one, actually, that did pump things up. Even if I didn't care for the last tape because it killed the goddamn dog, sorry, bit of a spoiler there, Safe Haven was truly a goddamn, well, godsend as it were, because it was really goddamn great. I'd like to see a full-length movie of that. And then you had VHS Viral, which we don't talk about because it was absolute goddamn ass. And then VHS 94, that was pretty good, even with the unevenness. And then VHS 99, that honestly was at times okay, and then other times didn't really fully click to me. That being said, I was excited for VHS 85. And as far as how I'd rank them, we got VHS, we got VHS 2, we got VHS 94, we got VHS 99, we got VHS Viral. And where does this one rank? Well, let's talk about it. So the plot, such as it is, has a wraparound story, and that's what every single one has. The first one had one about boys that broke into an old man's house to look for a tape. The second one had detectives that were looking for a missing boy. The third one had something about a guy looking for his missing girlfriend. 94 had something to... 94 and 99s are a bit of a blur to me, in all honesty, even though they weren't all that bad. But there's always a wraparound story. This one is something called Total Copy. That's about Rory, who is being observed by a bunch of doctors. And that was directed by David Buckner, who did The Night House. And The Night House was pretty goddamn good. I encourage you guys to check that out. Really, really good stuff. So that's a wraparound story, and then we get other stuff, such as No Wake. That was directed by Mike P. Nelson, who did the 2021 Wrong Turn. This involves people going to, camping area, and there's a lake that they shouldn't have gone into, and that's all I'm going to say right there. Things go south. And there was God of Death, that was directed by Gigi Saul Guerrero, who is gorgeous, by the way, just want to say that, and does actually understand horror. And this one isn't too bad. Basically, a crew has to make their way out of the aftermath of an earthquake, and they run into more shit than they planned and that they could ever possibly imagine. And then we keep getting the wraparound stuff with Rory as more shit starts to go south. And then we get one called TKNOGD. That's really all I can say right there. It's about, like, if Lawnmower Man was condensed. Basically, it's VR stuff. It's early VR and a theater performance. And then we get one called Dream Kill, directed by Scott Derrickson, who did The Black Phone and has a very sinister feel, if you'll see what I did there. That is about basically tapes that are sent of various people being killed, and then these people turn up murdered. It's almost like a premonition. Holy shit, this stuff's going on. So, yeah, from there we have an anthology horror movie that I'm going to say right now this is not as good as 94. There were elements that weren't that bad, but the misses were very, very, very fucking noticeable. There were good parts of this and some good talent involved. Some good gore effects, I will say that. The problem is this whole series is getting very long in the tooth. This is just a bit above 99, I will say that. There's a little more quality here, but yeah, this one has some questions that, just I couldn't get out of my head. Once I couldn't get them out of my head, I'm like, okay, the characters are making monumentally dumb decisions, which is typical of horror movies, but some of the stuff just didn't work. And when it didn't work, it was very, very noticeable. Now, again, good gore effects, and some good, talent involved. The cast weren't that bad. And a couple of these I wouldn't mind seeing fleshed out into full-fledged stories. Some interesting ideas and then poor execution. Unfortunately, one of the ones I was really looking forward to didn't click at all. That would be Dreamkill, and I'll get into why in the spoilers. And it's disappointing given the amount of talent involved. I mean, I don't know. There's something didn't fully click for me where this is below 94 but above 99. Let me know what you guys thought. Are you a fan of the VHS franchise? Do you feel that maybe they should give up on this stuff? They should just stop doing them. Has the quality just totally goddamn dipped? I'm curious what you guys have to say. I was excited to see this, and overall, while I was disappointed by the parts, there were a few parts that I can definitely recommend that I will talk about in spoilers. So it's on Shudder if you want to check it out. And that's all I really can get into without getting into spoilers. So 3, 2, 1, and spoilers. Okay, so we've got the VHS franchise going on, and they'll probably end up doing one. Maybe they'll do one about the war between Beta and VHS around 80 or 81. Maybe we'll get that. So, starts with footage of, basically, 80s stuff, commercials and all that. The wraparound is about Rory, directed by David Bruckner, or Buckner, rather. And I will say that it starts out fine and then gets uneven. Buckner has done better stuff than this. It is from Bloody Disgusting, Soapbox Films, and Sinpocalypse. I did find it funny we started out with Monster Trucks. Gravedigger! This Sunday at the Tacoma Dome. Sunday. So, yeah, at first glance, Rory is an American, is a Happy Meal. Rory's an alien of some description. I just want to say that right there just to get that out of the way. And the doctors investigating him are fucking idiots. No Wake has people taking an RV to go camping. There's a guy with a brief Randy Savage impression. Big pop there to that actor, whose name I didn't catch. Good Randy Savage impression. You done good. Welcome to Lake something. I thought it was Lake Evil. I think it's Lake Eviction. And you find out why a little bit later. There's a hollowed out squirrel. They go water skiing. And then someone starts gunning them down. It's Sniper Ghost Lake 3. And then we cut to, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are? I told you last Friday. No. Where is Bart anyways? Dinner's getting all cold and eaten. And they're fine, seemingly. The ones that didn't go in the water aren't. This water basically makes it where you can't die. That's pretty much it right there. Some good gore effects. There was a lady that had her jaw shot off and a guy that had his brain, hanging out. Again, good gore effects. Guy has guts hanging out, but he was fine. I guess they can't go back to their normal lives because they'll say, hey, Fred from accounting is bleeding on the goddamn copies again. And also this, I'm just going to guess that, if they had done that, the whole credit crash in the 80s would have happened a whole lot sooner. And then we go back to Total Copy. We believe Rory is sentient. Then we go to God of Death. That's directed by Gigi Saul Guerrero, who, again, has a good understanding of horror and is gorgeous. Good grief, she is gorgeous. But she was on some countdown on AMC about horror movies. She understands horror, and I would like to see more of what she does as far as, films. I mean, she did one called Slash FM in the Trap House. I need to get around to watching those. So she's a news reporter, and then an earthquake hits. I think it's somewhere in Argentina, from what I could gather, and it was very vicious. A film crew is basically totally destroyed. A rescue crew gets in there, but yet can't get out the way they came in, because the building's collapsing, so they have to go further down into these tunnels where there's this Mictlin, I believe. I think it's how it's pronounced. If I mispronounce that, I apologize. There was one funny point where, at least it was funny to me, where a guy was trapped by rebar, and one of the crew members put him out of his misery by smashing him with a crowbar. How they got Devon Storm in this, I have no idea. Har har. Longtime wrestling fans will laugh. Drop the camera already? Not a goddamn option, mister. Yeah, they're in a cave system. It's like Legends of the Hidden Temple, but for realsies. And then I believe the lady of the crew gets possessed. She looked good. She did. And she rips the guy's still being heart out, sacrifices it to the god Mictlin or whatever. And then that ends. There you go. That one wasn't bad. I mean, I do question how the crew got in there, and once that question was in my head, I couldn't get out of there. I don't know why, but this one was all right. And then Rory is changing and mimicking people. Mimics a guy named Gary, not SpongeBob's snail friend. And then we get TKNOGD, which is not a Tony Khan production, believe it or not. A theater production directed by Natasha Kermani. If I mispronounce that, I do apologize. Who believes in God? Well, we can't answer that question. Let's look at this video about VR. You can exist in a digital world and in the real world. And then a weird creature attacks and destroys and rips apart this woman. No, really, that's pretty much all that happens right there. Has some good gore effects. And even for an anthology movie, I'm like, what? All right. Let's see what else Natasha Kermani can do. This one didn't work, mainly because I didn't care. I didn't care. I wasn't given a reason to care. For a near 2-hour movie, this is like an hour and 51 minutes with end credits. There were things that could have been cut in a wraparound story that could have been added to this. Like, yes, anthology movies are supposed to be small. Not this fucking small. I mean, the gore effects are all right. It was like Lawnmower Man, except this was much more competently directed. And that's a compliment to Natasha, because Lawnmower Man was kind of absolutely shit. And had Pierce Brosnan in it. A pre-Bond Pierce Brosnan. And then I did like the Tron stuff that was going on here. And then we get a video of a family being gathered. By the way, a little bit earlier, during No Wake, the people that had they were alive but were ripped apart, including the lady with the jaw. There was a Roman numeral 7 painted on there. That's important for this. A girl named Ruth is at a family gathering, and then a boy suddenly squirts her with a squirt gun that was used earlier in the goddamn, first one. And where did you get that? From the lady in the RV? Because the surviving people that were reincarnated in the lake and can't die squirted her with the water. Ah, ha, 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 ha. And then they celebrate to the 7. Because you have to kill 7 people to continue this offering, I guess? And then they have a bunch of guns and they get in a shootout with the cops. Now, there are some good effects here. Good shootout stuff. And Ruth ends up getting shot, but is reincarnated because she got the lake water on her. And tries to shoot herself in the head. Can't die. And she gets taken away. Basically, it's every right-wing crackpot's fear. By the way, if you do have the same mindset as this family, you're a fucking idiot. You don't deserve happiness. Yeah, don't let them take you alive. There were some cool effects here. I think that David Buckner could have benefited from maybe a little bit better cohesion here, because he did great in the Night House. And then Rory is changes into Gary, and the experiment starts to go to shit, according to the redheaded doctor, who is a beautiful woman, I want to say. Looks like Bryce Dallas Howard, in my opinion. And then we get Dream Kill, directed by Scott Derrickson. Very sinister-like. Basically, home videos show murders. The cops investigate them. And it's because the boy, Gunther, that's his actual name, by the way. Gunther the Goth, not Limbo of the Lost. He records his dreams. His camera records his dreams. How? Also, a Chicago deep dish pizza ad popped up. Now I want pizza. The video is way too clean for 1985. Given the grittiness of everything else, and that's not even knocking Scott Derrickson, but the interrogation parts were way too clean. I don't know what it was. So there's a beta VHS debate again. Google that. And then it turns out that the cop takes the somewhat bad cop takes the good cop, who's the father of the son that has these dreams that the camera records, and then these people turn up dead, and the father's perfectly okay with this because the father's committing the murders. That's what it is. He shoots the he shoots the guy or his partner there, and then goes and kills people. Basically, it was women that got him off the force for him stalking them, including the attorney on the case. And then he shows back up. The son had just checked out the video and said, "You're not going to kill me." But then the dad gets in a firefight with the rest of the cops, including one good headshot. So that was some good camera work and some good stuff. Again, flashes of good stuff, just muddled, I'll say, because the VHS franchise is very, very long in the tooth at this point. So much so, it's like the Lisa Simpson stuff without the braces, and the thing was poking through her cheek. It's not quite protruding, but it's getting close. And then Gunther shoots his dad. And then total copy, basically the redheaded beauty doctor leaves, but then everybody else gets killed, including Gary, because Rory is obsessed with workout videos and takes one of the people and pushes them up and does like the workout, let's get physical. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I left out here, mainly because of stuff you have to see. It's hard to explain in full detail because it's bite-sized chunks. C+, it gets a C+. There are good ideas, poor execution on some of them. It is what it is. Again, it's better than 99. It is definitely better than VHS Viral. Then again, I shot things out better than VHS Viral. I may retro review that at some point, but nevertheless, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Rutland. I'll see you soon.